We got a brand new episode of the Broad and Forever podcast coming at you. I'm your host, Shamus Clancy, Deputy Sports Editor at PhillyVoice.com. I am joined, as always, by my guy, Zo. Zo, how you feeling? How you living?
Happy Wednesday, man.
Do you know what my biggest regret in the last 7 days is? It's Saturday afternoon.
Yep.
Getting ready for the game, hitting the lots, putting some bets in before I get in there. Because I think sometimes with at certain stadiums, you can't put in bets. Like I've tried to be at the Sixers game, and if you use DraftKings or FanDuel doesn't work, and I'm throw in a couple things. And I actually did decent this week. I posted some parlays. The lock of the week was the Bosco TD anytime score and the Eagles money line. Then I did a little bit more of a flavorful, spicy one with one BG sack, one Hassan Reddick sack, under 2.5 team touchdowns for the Giants and Eagles money line. That hit was nice little cash. But one I had on there, I was going to throw, there's $5 on there. And I said, might be just throwing the money away. I've never bet on this type of action ever.
Right.
Final score. I had it up there. It was $5 to win, like, I don't know, a couple $100.
Yeah.
Final score 38-7 because it was the 5th anniversary. The 38-7 beat down of the Vikings. I didn't do it. And what does the score end up being? So
38-7.
Isn't that awesome? That if you're an Eagles fan and you believe in signs, and I'm like objectively in the real world, you might not give a shit about that stuff. But when it comes to fandom, I'm totally on board with anyone being superstitious, all about vibes, that type of shit. To see that 5 years ahead. Good vibes for the Super Bowl run.
And shout out to, there was a lot of people when it was 31-7. Everybody was like, well, they got to go for 38. And then at first, it was almost like serendipitous because you could totally see them just like, telling Minshew, just a couple quarterback sneaks, then we'll clock it. But then Kenny Gainwell just squirts loose and everybody's just like, it's happening again. And 38-7 hits right on the head. And like, you could even like you I'm sure you were there, but like the stadium, you can even get it from the stadium. And everybody
was shaking.
Like, holy shit, it's 38-7 again. So it was really, really fun to see, man. Last week was super, super fun. I know we're gonna get into the Niners, but man, last week, talk about exercising any demons. I know everybody had some people had questions about how they would come out, how they would look. They had a couple of weeks off. They looked a little rusty, but after the first 5 minutes, we were like, oh, okay. So this is exactly how it's just gonna go. It was, when it was 21-0, we were just like, all right, who we playing next week?
I'm thinking of the LeBron meme. We're having this conversation. He's like, before the game, I was thinking 31-7, and then when they got to 31-7, I thought might as well get 38.
Right. That's why we always like, well, might as well get 38. LeBron's like, I told them, I knew they were going to get 38. I knew before the game was going to be 38-7.
Gainwell, I did not, because in the as it gets to the late third quarter and fourth quarter, I really start writing, especially if the game's out of reach when I'm in the press box, especially that's how it's been most of this year.
Sure, yeah.
So sometimes I'm not even paying super duper close attention at that point because I'm furiously typing against the clock because I want to be able to publish something as soon as the final whistle hits.
Yep.
Nature of the gig, nature of the industry. Then Gainwell has that run. I'm like, great. And he had a pretty good game. He had some nice runs at the middle, some first downs. He had 112 rushing yards. It's fifth most and playoff franchise history behind Wilbert in the 1980 NFC Championship game, a Steve Van Buren game, and I think in the 47 championship game, and then 2 Brian Westbrook games. Unbelievable.
Isn't that crazy? It's crazy how that crept up on us. And now this week, a lot of people were talking about, obviously I've been listening to the radio and stuff, and a lot of folks like, where'd that Gainwell game come from? And he's a guy who, you don't want to. Shout out to Tony Pollard. I'm going to give him more respect than that because Tony Pollard is the Cowboys' best running back. But I think he can, like, with more opportunity, I think he can bust on the scene like a Tony Pollard type guy. You know what I mean? Like, he's quick. I feel like they're the same kind of player. Like, he's like secretly strong. He's very quick. He knows his holes. Like, I think he's a guy who should get the ball more, especially Sunday, for sure.
Yeah, they're both Memphis running backs. I think that's kind of been saying
Yep.
RBU would be totally incorrect, but I think that's a history or a template or an example that people can follow. If a running back's coming out of Memphis and is more in that scat back style, as they can have talent as a receiver. And I don't think Gainwell is necessarily a true 3-down running back that can take that pounding. Whereas I do think Tony Pollard is probably a top 10 back in this league, maybe more, but just doesn't get all the carries because of Zeke.
Sure.
But
he's a free agent coming up too.
Yeah. What if is he the new DeMarco Murray?
I was
Sanders
just about
leaves,
to say.
and then he's fucking terrible.
Good guy.
Man, how far we've come. So that was 2015. So that's 8 years ago. I'm a junior in college. What a world.
I am at my second big boy job, and
ready to go office space mode.
Yeah, I'm going office space on like it's a day where like we have to we're getting timed on like the job is at some ridiculous call center and we're getting timed on it on this specific day. But I remember it was the day after the notorious like hop out of bounds play. And, my one coworker who was a diehard Eagles fan like came up to me and was just like, "Bro, fuck the phones today. Did you see what he did yesterday?" And
we're walking out in protest.
Yo, it's a walkout. Like Kramer voice. It's a
It's the new minimum wage.
Makes you wonder what it was all for.
That should be an off-season pod. We'll do best Kramer moments, best George moments, or something like that.
Oh my god, yes. We can do like well, we can tell them we're gonna do our sports movie, that sports movie thing.
Yeah, we're gonna do some sports movie stuff. We'll have some fun this off season.
I would definitely love to do. We can definitely do like our favorite Seinfelds, and I feel like we should do like this will take it all summer, but like if we do like our favorite Seinfelds and like our top 10 like Always Sunnies
scenes or like, episodes or
we should do episodes alone. Maybe just do scenes like our top 10 favorite scenes. Yeah. And then like that'll be really cool. We can even do like a poll, whatever. That would be funny as hell though.
I watched maybe half a dozen Sunny episodes for the first time in a minute over the weekend. Still holds up, man. Watching some of I watched the Super Bowl 2-part. I'm still a fan of the later season. If the show's on, I watch the next day on Hulu when it's still airing.
Yeah.
There's the 2-parter Super Bowl one, obviously getting jazzed up with the Eagles run and the vibes and the city and the energy. Yeah. So I watched that. That was good. The other one, like Being Frank, when it's the first person view of Frank. So show just hits. Shout out to our prep guy, South Philly guy, Rob Mack.
Big dog.
I had an Always Sunny tweet that he liked.
Really? That's so funny.
So on Saturday, right, the Giants water at their hotel stops working. Remember that?
Yeah.
So people couldn't shower and then report like that license plate freak guy is freaking out.
Yeah, and you were like, "Who? This is the?"
And it was like the janitor at the hotel or the maintenance guy. I think I said to be a little bit more respectful. And it was a picture of Charlie working as the janitor at that school at one time, and it blew up. And then I saw that he liked it, and I was like, "Feels like a win for the Birds."
That's easily a win. Yeah, I have. I was thinking about. We're talking about him yesterday. I was hounding at a couple of alums, and somebody was saying like how cool it was when they shot the reunion episode at the prep. You know, like that was that was like very, 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 very cool shit. And even like from that episode to where they are now, it's ridiculous just how much they've blown up still.
Full circle for him, certainly.
Yeah, for him for sure. Yeah, from South Philly basement to where he is now. I think not to blow up his spot, but yeah, I think at the last like update, someone was saying that he's like quietly like involved and like showing his prep pride. So that's cool.
Good. Want to bring back the Hater of the Week award?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So we had some comments pop up today. Obviously, teams going through, and the 4 championship teams left, talking to the media, going through practice. The Eagles had a walkthrough today. I was down there at the NovaCare complex. Was at Nick Sirianni's press conference in the locker room, and then Jalen Hurts and Goddard also had press conferences Nick talking about his usual stuff, getting hyped, asking questions. I asked him about AJ and Avante status for Sunday, and it seems like they're likely to play. It's not official, that's not definite, but that was the vibe I got from him. And of course, the same thing's happening on the other side of the country with the 49ers ahead of their game Sunday with the Birds, obviously, NFC Championship game. So Deebo Samuel was asked, I guess, about from a reporter out in the Bay Area, I'm assuming, what the atmosphere and energy is going to be like at the Link. How are you ready for that? Obviously Philly has this typecast, crazy fans, which is partially true. I don't think some of the violent aspects are supremely overstated, but the maddening aspects certainly ring true, I think, from what I've seen in my whole life in the city and attending games in the stands and all of that. So Deebo Samuel, talk about a guy. I'll praise him a little bit first before I wreck him. Football player. Like, you think of a guy who could play any position.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you wanted to start a team of 22 players that were all one guy, you would take 22 Deebo Samuels.
He's going to play 3 positions on Sunday. Yeah, he is without shadow of a doubt, like their best player. I know they traded for CMC, but CMC is more comeback player of the year type, but Deebo for the past few years has been their best player, and he still is. Yeah. So football wise, yes, he's all due respect. Football wise, he's earned it.
So he says, we know it's going to be loud, but no stadium is as loud as ours. They're at home, NFC Championship game. They're going to be all riled up. We don't feed too much into that. So before we kind of have our fun with it, I get what he's saying. He has to say something that doesn't marginalize his fan base, right? Because if an Eagles player said, "Oh, we're worried about that. Like, we've never encountered something like that," we'd be like, people in Philly would be like, "What the frig are you talking about? You never played a game with the Link before." But at the same time, any sort of disrespect in this city, however slight it may be, will get people angry. We'll get them riled up. And if you thought the scene down at the sports complex this Sunday afternoon was going to be rabid and wild to begin with, people are going to be having Deebo Samuel shirts, signs, whole 9 yards, ready for some blood. And I don't mean that physically. I mean it metaphorically.
I think that I get it. And we should walk it back one step. So for anybody who hasn't seen the 49ers pregame, they have a very, very lively walkout. They have a giant ass boombox that they use, and it's usually Deebo and Trent Williams that lead the pack. And they walk out to whatever chosen song, usually by Deebo, I think. So they're used to being raucous when they come out and pumping themselves up and all that other shit. So I think that's really what this is a case of him trying to keep that spirit going. I get what he's like you. I get what he's saying about and trying to not psych themselves out, but I also don't get what he's saying, because shame on.
He could have said it a little different way.
You could have said it a much different way. You could have not said anything at all. You could just be like, "Yeah, we know it's going to be loud. We know where we're going." I mean, Kittle said it. Kittle's just like, "Yeah, we know it's Philly. We know it's loud. So we'll try our best to prepare for it," and left it at that. There's no one. I tweeted it too, but I've yet to hear anybody say, "Man, Santa Clara is loud as hell when you go in here."
That's what I was looking up. I was double checking where Levi Stadium is, Santa Clara, California. So they move out of the true Bay Area for this new stadium over the last couple of years, and they get this full of those Silicon Valley tech bros, corporate crowd. And again, I think if the same thing happened to the Eagles, right? If they move the stadium closer to Havertown or something, out of the city proper, the way the Atlanta Braves did. And I think if that happened, it'd be people in Philly would be, the crowd wouldn't necessarily be the same just because of differences in geography and stuff like that. So I don't think this crowd at Levi Stadium, while I think the 49ers lost 2 games at home all year, obviously a great team.
Yeah.
I don't think that's rivaling what it might have been like in Candlestick Park in the Montana Steve Young days.
No.
Which I think the Eagles still have, and it's not like they're the only team that does it. They still have some of those old school vibes. I think the NFC East teams are like that. I think the AFC North teams are like that. The way those fan bases in mostly colder weather cities, these places that they have this ingrained, it's ingrained in their culture. Sports is ingrained in the culture the way it is in other parts of the country, including Santa Clara, California, I would say. But bulletin board material for Philadelphians is always a dangerous proposition.
As if we needed any more. Like I texted you, I think that there is, it's only Wednesday. We're recording this on Wednesday, but we still got 3 more days of build up and mayhem, and I think they're going to replay that clip so many times, and you know how shit gets. By the time Sunday morning comes, we might register on the Richter scale. Like it's already gonna be crazy. The last thing they needed was that added fuel to the fire. Listen, again, I get it. Who's to say that they won't be ready for it? Much respect to the guy. I hope he knows what he's getting himself into or what he got his team into. But again, we are special like that. Like some other city, it wouldn't even register. They were just like, whatever. But like we take everything to heart. We take it to heart when we think you're trying to slight our players. We're trying to slight our fans, our coaches. Like we take all that shit to heart. So I get it. I totally get it. And God bless them.
Do you think Nick Sirianni is going to show the team that clip? Is he going to show them another 8 Mile clip? People crushed Sirianni for doing the 8 Mile rap battle.
And it worked.
It seemed like it worked, but also as a 28-year-old white guy, I really had an affinity for Eminem in the late 90s and early 2000s and really enjoyed 8 Mile. So I was kind of into it, but I understand that that's not everyone's vibe.
Till I you play, like I was saying, when you showed the video of them playing Till I Collapse in their walkthrough, I was like, I just got it was like very, very prep weight room after the football team leaves type vibes. Like you go downstairs and like it's like 4 wrestlers and a bunch of crew guys down there, and everybody's playing. They're playing fucking Till I Collapse. So like that's the vibe I got from it. I get it. Sirianni fits that bill. Whatever works, man. Like he is the kind of guy who I think he just gets it. He studied this region and this demographic so intently. He's got it down so packed that I would not be shocked if Friday night he shows them a fucking clip from Creed. Like I just feel like he just really gets it, man. And again, I should preface it with I am not. This is not a guarantee of victory on. Like I'm confident that the Eagles will play well, and I think that if they play their very best, they'll win. But all I'm saying is, I do not by any means think that if they lose, it won't be because they weren't prepared. I think they'll be prepared. I think they'll be psyched up. I think they'll be ready to go, and may the best man win.
Know what Philadelphians should be really rallying around right now, and I think they're starting to in the Eagles fan base, is looking at the way all these other fan bases and people, whether they're media, fans, divisional foes, whatever, clearly hate Nick Sirianni and his antics.
Right.
And speaking in the press conference on Wednesday, people asked him about it. Hey, you're getting in the face of the camera. You're nodding all funny and crazy and being a goof. After the Eagles go up a couple of touchdowns, he thinks about maybe running up the score a little bit with that almost 2-point conversion they thought about.
Right.
He said dating back to his college and high school days, people have been like that with him. He said his brother, I believe, is married to a girl that went to the rival high school.
Yeah.
And whenever they go to functions, the brother with his spouse partner to those school functions, everyone says, man, I still hate your brother. I still hate that guy. And he said it was like that for him in college, at Mount Union, D3 powerhouse, like that in high school up in Jamestown, New York. He's an MFer, and I mean that in the most glowing of terms for the way people view the hardened aspects, the I don't care about anything other than Philadelphia vibes that happen in this city.
Yep. I think that's the reason why you look at our top athletes in each sport, right? It's the reason why people love Bryce Harper so much, why they love Joel Embiid so much. They're guys who continue to make it known like all they care about is what happens here, and being here. and weaving themselves into the fabric here. It means a lot, because we are a city that is like not so much, we don't care as much about how you got here. We care more about how long you plan on staying here, and like what are you doing while you're here. Like there's guys that came, like again, DeMarco Murray, guy who got here and was from the start. You just knew he wasn't going to be here. Like what the fuck, man. And but like other guys, you just knew that they were ours from the jump, man. Like you just knew that they got it and they were ready to live and die here.
It's so easy to get a 2, which makes the situations like Wentz a little bit towards the
Mm-hmm.
end, and
Mm-hmm.
certainly Ben Simmons' whole
Mm-hmm.
tenure here.
Yep.
And Joel Embiid figured it out quick. Bryce Harper doesn't pay his PR people enough because he figured it out in 5 freaking seconds as soon as he signed that 13-year contract, how to get at the heart of Philadelphians. And Jalen Hurts gets it now, and A.J. Brown gets it, and Jordan Mailata gets it, and Jason Kelce and Lane Johnson always got it.
Yep.
It's so simple. Just love Philadelphians, love the fans. And if you perform, and all these guys, even the guys that we said didn't really get the vibes, DeMarco Murray, super talented player. Ben Simmons, really one of the most talented basketball players I've ever seen. Who
it was a 2-time All-Star.
Will never live up to the potential he once had.
He was literally a 2-time All-Star, man. And I think that's the reason, that's the other reason that pissed us off the most. It wasn't like he was untalented. He was just, there were certain things, obviously one big ass thing he wouldn't do that we were all upset about. But it was the other part, which was like giving us his ass to kiss, like nonchalant, like whatever. I'm going about my business. I'm doing what I have to do. But like, it's such a talented player that had so much more potential here if he just wanted it more, essentially.
Philly fans are basically, I'm not going to kiss your ass. You should kiss our ass.
Right. That's what it
sums up pretty well.
Right. Turns out great so far. We got a ring out of it.
Yeah.
Actually.
They're gonna have a ring this year.
I think so. Man.
They have to win on Sunday to get to the Super Bowl. I don't think this fan base is in looking ahead mode. I really don't think that's the vibe. People are just excited. If your team's playing to win the Super Bowl, you're understandably going to talk all week about getting to the Super Bowl or what would happen with the Super Bowl. That's all fun and games. I don't think everyone's saying it's a route. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about Shanahan's play calling. I'm not worried about CMC, Deebo, Kittle, and everyone they have on that ultra talented defense. It's just what you're going to do if you, as a fan, naturally is, you're daydreaming. You're sitting at your job. You're fucking around in Excel, pretending that you're doing stuff when you're really not. And you have Wikipedia open and you're reading about the 2017 Eagles going back on that run. You're reading phillyvoice.com, obviously, and looking at what I'm posting on there. That's what it's all about.
And I think that the vibe this time is, I think people are trying to get used to us being the big dogs. Not the underdogs this year. Like nobody's out. Nobody's like, watch out for the Eagles. Everybody's like, yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if the Eagles won. They've been the best team in football for 4 months. No one's going to be shocked if they won on Sunday.
The Giants win silence any of the stuff where people are saying, hey, they haven't played good football in a month and a half. Hey, they have rust. Hey, is Jalen Hurts healthy? Right. Jalen Hurts didn't even have to do a lot on Saturday night. He had the opening drive, went 7 for 7 in the first quarter. Dallas got it. Great first drive to go up 7-0, and they don't look back. And Jalen didn't have to do a lot. He threw for, did he throw for 200 yards? He might not even thrown for 200 yards.
It might have been. It was definitely
like 154 or something.
Yeah.
And then he rushes for a touchdown and looks just as juiced up as he always has. And he's going to be even a little bit more rested because he didn't have to play that much. He didn't have to strain himself. And Minshew got some snaps at the end of the game, as we were saying.
I do love his. I love his answers.
Jalen.
I feel like Jalen is. He's brutally honest. I think that he answers the questions about his health way more honest than you probably want, but he's genuine in so much that he's like, yeah, I'm still hurt, but kind of is what it is. Which I think it means something, because I think actually Darius Slay talked about it last week. He was saying how some days some guys come in and don't have it, and then you see how much preparation Jalen puts in and how much he's pushing through, and you're like, fuck yeah, I gotta match that, right? And so like I do think that there is a level that he brings where if you're his teammate, if you're his coach, you got to meet him there, right? Which is why I think Sirianni is so fiery because he's got to meet Jalen there. Like Jalen can't be like, "Come on, coach, I need your best today." Like Sirianni's got to be like, "All right, Jalen, I'm going to hook you up. Like, I'm going to get us here today, Jalen. Don't worry." You know what I mean? Like it can't be like, "Coach, like what's up? You look out of it today." Like Sirianni brings it because he knows that's where he's got to meet Jalen at. I think that's cool. I think that's the kind of relationship you want with your quarterback.
It's easy to be happy-go-lucky when things are going well. I think we saw that with the 2017 Eagles compared to the 2018 Eagles.
Yep.
But working as a media member this past season, from training camp on to now, being out in NovaCare Camp Blocks today, like I said, these are genuine guys, and that extends from the coaching staff all the way down to the guys on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
They're honest, they're true to themselves, and like we said, easily ingrain themselves into this city.
Yeah.
Kelsey, 7th-round draft pick, 6th-round draft pick. Brandon Graham was a bust. He's not Earl Thomas. Jalen Hurts, why the frig did they draft him? We have Carson Wentz. They have Carson Wentz. What would Philadelphia need Jalen Hurts for?
Right.
And it's probably going to go down if a month from now the Eagles have a second Lombardi trophy. Jalen Hurts is going to go down as Howie Roseman's greatest draft pick ever.
Right. Yep.
Imagine saying that 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it is.
Like 2 years ago, you would have been like, or 2 years ago, you did say, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, so that's like right after the Wentz combust season and
right.
Jalen gets some run at the end of the year. Thinking that guy in 2 years was going to lead you to the Super Bowl.
And my assessment is they faced adversity all year in varying degrees. They won a lot, but when Jalen got hurt, there's a ton of adversity there. And I do think this is on Sunday their biggest opportunity and their biggest hurdle. Right, all year long, the 3 best teams in this conference have been the Birds, the Niners, and the Cowboys. Like that's it. Now you get to land that final blow on Sunday and to really show just how much guts you have, just how tough this team actually is. There's a lot of guys on that roster who, to be honest with ourselves, won't be here next year. Like, who's to say that, Lane won't say, "Look, dude, like this is my last ab injury. I'm done." Like Kelsey's like, he's made it very clear that he's year to year. And you go down the list. So this Sunday means a lot to a lot of guys in that locker room who've been here before. And there's also a lot of guys in that locker room who've never been here before. So I'm interested to see these next couple of days, and Sunday, how we see and how we find out that Sirianni's been able to marry the two. Because that's a tough thing to do as well. It's tough to marry guys who've won before when you're outnumbered by guys who've never won before. Like there's a lot of guys in that locker room who just had their first playoff win last week, including your leader. Like your quarterback just got his first playoff win last week, and you're going up against a team who's been to 3 out of the last 4 NFC championship games. So like that's the one marriage that has to happen. And the other part that has to happen is you got to get them to believe. Right? They believed all year long. They got you to where you are. And they believe so much that you get to play this game in your home stadium. But I do think that this will be their toughest challenge of the year. And we should lay it out, right? That like this is not going to be like the Giants game. It's gonna be tough. And you should expect it to 2 best teams in the conference. You should expect it to be a tough game. That's what I want. That's what I want the lasting message to be. It's okay if this is a tough game.
It's okay if they win by 1 point and didn't cover to Eagles fans. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the spread. It doesn't matter if they win 15-14, if they win 9-6, or they win 51-50. You just have to win.
That's it. That's all you got to do. Like, please, everybody, we don't give a shit. Doesn't matter if it's literally 10-7. All you got to do is win. So that's the message. Just worry about the win. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be cold. We're going to miss some passes. We're going to miss some tackles. All we got to do is come out victorious. If we do that, another rest of that shit falls by the wayside.
I think back to Malcolm Jenkins' pregame speech during the 2017 NFC Championship game because it relates to what you were saying just before this little talk of it doesn't matter what the final score is.
Yeah.
And it's maybe the best pump-up speech I've ever seen from an NFL player. Obviously, a little biased there, given I was at that game. And,
Of course, yeah.
Monumental moment of my life. But he's in the the huddle, and he's saying, this is the last time this group of guys will ever be on this field together. Because it's true. It's not just saying like, oh, they're going to lose X player or Y player.
Right.
There's always changeover in the NFL. This is the last time this group of 50-something guys will ever walk out onto the Lincoln Financial Field together.
Right.
And you have to act like that. You have to savor that. You have to play like that.
And you have to, that's got to be top of mind, right? Because there's no such thing as I'm too tired or we'll get it next play. There is no next play. Like in that one famous speech, what Brian Dawkins said, there is no tomorrow, fellas. Like that's what you got to look at. There's no tomorrow. There's no such thing as I can get it back next play. Because you know what? Probably won't be. Like you may miss Deebo on an open field tackle and he gets the first down. You're like, I'll get him next time. And then next time you see him, he skirts for a 50-yard touchdown. Like it's got to be this play. I got to get this play.
What clip you say? Show him the Creed clip. You're doing the training montage from the first Creed movie. Meek's playing Lord Knows. I think. Well, we're not even gonna get to that right now.
I think it's got to be the training montage for sure. And when he goes for a run and the dirt bike swallow him and Rock waves out the window, it's got to be that one. Got to be that one. Want
to hit predictions?
Let's do it.
I'm saying 29-17. Earlier in the week, I had a rather conservative prediction of 24-20. Then I thought back to the Giants game last week, and I was, first of all, mad at myself. I didn't predict 30-7 just for my loyal readers who love when I talk about that shit.
For the nostalgia,
I think I did 27-14, and that was just kind of like, hey, I think they're going to win double digits.
Yeah,
I don't expect a smackdown.
Yeah.
And I wish I was a little less cowardly and predicted the beatdown. And while I'm not going that far, I think most people are assuming it'll be a 2, 3, 4, 5-point game. I am going 29-17, and maybe that's a little backdoor where they get another touchdown at the end where it's close and it's maybe not as wasn't as convincing a win as the score says. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. I am predicting a C.J. Gardner-Johnson pick six, Patrick Robinson style, the hero on Sunday, akin to the way Patrick Robinson added himself to Eagles lore, Eagles franchise history forever.
CD Deuce.
Sirianni compared somebody, reporter, I don't know who, today in his press conference asked him when we were talking about his personality and everything like that, what players most like him, and he said Chauncey. And I was like, wouldn't have been my first guess, but okay.
All right, I'll take it. Yeah. I'll take it. Let me see. So I thought about it a lot too, mostly after we found out, after I found out we were going to play in them. I have 28-20. Okay. I do think the defense is going to be the one that seals the deal for us. I think that similar to you, I'm standing on that Hassan Reddick Hill. I think that he's a guy who should have been, up for consideration for Defensive Player of the Year, 17.5 sacks. Like, you got to be shitting me. I think he's a guy who will have a monster game on Sunday. And I think the play of the game will be when he plants Brock Purdy into the turf and causes a fumble. And either Kaiser White or TJ Edwards is picking it up and taking it the other way. I really think that will be the earthquake. That's going to be the earthquake when. That's
the earthquake moment. I like that. That CJ was mine, and P Rob's the original.
Yep. It's 21-20. We get the Hassan sack on the final drive, and we're picking up, taking it in the end zone. We're running all the way to Arizona, baby.
Wi-Fi might kick out in the press box.
Right.
And you'll tweet Shamus is in the bathroom howling.
I'll tweet Shamus in the bathroom howling like a wolf again. It worked. I might do it again.
Yeah, if it works, you have to keep doing it. You'll have to do it in Arizona if the Eagles are lucky enough to make it there, and I do go out there for a work trip. Want to do a playoff, John?
Yeah, let's do it.
You're not doing too well in playoff, John, but you just got to win the week. You just got to win the week. We got to win 1 week. So let's go to my note on my computer here. Zo and Shame team. So we have flex pays for the NFC divisional flex and AFC, well, not divisional, conference flex, AFC conference flex. The guys we've used so far on these specific teams, on our actual team, we have CMC for the 49ers, so can't pick him. And we have A.J. Brown for the Eagles.
So
what do you think in NFC? Let's start with NFC, because we just did that. So who do you think in there?
You want to do...
Do you go to 49ers because you think the Eagles are winning? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe you go a Niner because, so that's what I was thinking. So what if we did we do Ayuk yet?
No, I was thinking maybe Kittle.
Yes, we didn't do him.
Because I think the Eagles' one weakness, and I wrote this in my mailbag that I did today from a question from loyal reader Big Oil, was what matchups were you confident with the Eagles or you might be worried about? And I said, I think, talking about them defending in space is hard, and I think they're kind of susceptible over the middle. Strong secondary, great pass rush, elite pass rush, historic pass rush. But I think a situation where Kittle is obviously kind of a matchup nightmare. He's been like that for his whole career. Could be some issues there. I could see an 8-catch, 90-yard game, even if that doesn't mean the 49ers are winning.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. I get it.
And you could save Smitty for the Super Bowl theoretically if the Eagles make it, right?
No, kids
are excited.
It's bath time.
They're in playoff jump time. So we'll finish up with our AFC flex and we'll get playoff time going.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking we're going to double up on tight ends this week. I like Kelsey because I think Mahomes is hobbled, and I don't know if the Bengals are going to, or the Chiefs are going to make it on to the next round, because for the Bengals already we had Burrow. Okay. We used Higgins already. So we could, though, use one of Joe Mixon or Jamar Chase in the next two games, theoretically, if the Bengals played on Sunday and then in the Super Bowl. I'm kind of leaning. I talked to myself into that. Do you want to go one of Mixon or Chase? I could say Mixon, and then theoretically we could use Chase in the Super Bowl.
Let's go. Yeah, let's rock. Okay. I'm with that.
Okay, Mixon, Cincy, AFC flex. All right, I'll let you run and do dad duties. We don't want to jam you up too much.
All right.
Anything closing newsletter?
RiceRickySanchez.com/newsletter. Other than that, man, well, as Father for a couple novenas, Rocky boys.
Hit the chapel before the game.
Father Carmine.
All right, we'll talk, bro.
All right, bro. Later.